Hello and Om Shanti, and a very warm welcome to this discussion tonight. It's night in India. I am live from India, and you were able to hear this conversation globally everywhere live. So, just a good day, a good evening, and a good morning to everyone in their different time zones. The Brahma Kumaris have been affiliated to the UNDESA, which is the Department of Economic and Social Affairs, for many decades now. And our work at the UN, the foundation of it lies in the spiritual trajectory. That simply means that what we are on the inside reflects on our actions on the outside and decides what and who we become. I'm very happy to see a lot of you joining this conversation today, and we hope by the end of it you will be inspired by the conversation. So today's conversation, as I was just mentioning, will be based around finding out and exploring the causes of addiction and exploring several spiritual tools as a solution to help people come out of it. I see a lot of new people joining, and it's actually very exciting to see so many of you here live on this platform today. And we have two special guests for you, and I will just introduce them in a bit. But before that, let me just set up the platform and tell you what we're doing tonight for this session. So I was just continuing that every year we celebrate the World No Tobacco Day on May 31st. This year we're doing this session because a lot of our work is focused on social development globally, and the Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University has been affiliated to the UNDES, I was just mentioning, for many decades. And we try and help in different geographies wherever possible we can to find projects, to find initiatives, and to align and collaborate with other bodies, individuals, wherever we feel that we can make a positive impact. A small difference can go a long way. So today's conversation will focus on the causes of addiction, specifically tobacco, and exploring spiritual solutions as possible ways to help people come out of that addiction. And this conversation we're dedicating to the World No Tobacco Day, which is celebrated annually on May 31st. This year the theme for this day has been selected very carefully. It's a very attractive, very exciting theme, which is commit to quit. A lot of us want to make a change in our lives. We want to be able to make those changes, but we fail to commit to make those changes. So this day the theme is very carefully chosen, which is commit to quit. And we hope that by the end of this conversation, you will be inspired to make that small change in your life and to commit to quit on Monday, the 31st. Joining with me live in this conversation is who is a cardiac anesthesiologist in Southern California. He is also the co-founder of Global Institute of Mind, Body and Wellness. And also joining me live is Sister Krishna from Radio Madhuban, who is the production head at the radio, and she does a lot of social development work in the rural and tribal parts of Rajasthan, India. I am just waiting for Sister Krishna to join in, and I see that we have Dr. Shvetank online with us already. Very happy to have you. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you very much for having me.
Wonderful,
Actually,
wonderful.
I'm excited too because I had never used Instagram Live before. I never even knew that this existed. And addiction is my forte, and I love to talk about that. So I'm excited to be here.
Great. So Dr. Shvetank, in the meanwhile that Sister Krishna joins us, I would love to start the conversation with you and not to give away any time because our viewers have joined us. And so let's dig into the conversation, and I'm hoping Sister Krishna will be able to join us shortly. So what we really want to know is, Dr. Shvetank, from a medical standpoint, what are the real causes of addiction today?
Well, first of all, just for a couple of moments, I wanted to make people aware of how bad smoking is. You know, I know in a way it's a redundant question because a lot of us have access to internet and know a lot of information that is available out there. But I really want to drive this point home that it affects every sphere of our lives, you know. In fact, when we look at it from physical point of view, it affects every square inch of your body, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, if that makes sense. Yeah? Your lungs, your heart, your every part of your body. And it's not just physical. There's a psychological component to it. Mental component. There's anxiety, depression, and so on and so forth. Insomnia. All of these things begin to come along for people who smoke. Apart from that, it's not cheap. They're expensive, so it burns a
Oh, it
hole
is
into your
expensive,
wallet.
yes.
Yeah, and so you end up with financial issues and social too, because smokers have to stay with smokers, non-smokers shun them. So you end up then with other addictions and alcohol and gambling, and you get onto the wrong side of law, and so total destruction of human existence happens, if you will, with smoking. It is a horrible thing to do. And so now, as you had mentioned about why this is happening, for a long time, we always thought that all addictions are because of problems in the body. Addiction is a problem of the body per se. But over time, we realize that it is all controlled by the brain, right? The brain controls the body. So maybe it is a disease of the brain. And no doubt, we have found that there are a lot of different neurotransmitters that are secreted in the brain, and the imbalance of all of these, especially dopamine, has a big role in addiction, including smoking as well. But now we are realizing that brain itself can't do much. It mirrors the mind. So if the mind is not happy, the brain cannot be happy, and the body cannot be happy. So it's a disease of the mind. But truly speaking, now we're realizing it's not even the mind, because the mind is controlled by the soul. So it's a disease of the soul. And what we are now realizing is that deep inside somewhere, for all addictions, period, for all addictions, including smoking, somewhere there is a sense of void, a sense of emptiness that ends up in a person trying to search for a way to fill it up. There's a saying that nature abhors vacuum, nature abhors emptiness, and so there's a desire to fill it up. See, in general, we live in a kind of two types of dimensions, or two types of existence for each one of us. There's this physical dimension of our existence, and then there's a spiritual dimension, which Alan Watts, the famous philosopher, has talked about as the spotlight consciousness versus the floodlight consciousness. And so we are all stuck in our physical existence. But the problem with this is that the physical dimension, there is limitedness. Everything is limited, and everything is changing. And so by its very nature, it creates a sense of emptiness, vacuum, a sense of uncertainty. Whereas in the spiritual dimension of our existence, I, the soul, I, the spirit, I, the life force, I, the energy is indestructible. So it lends itself to understanding that we are unlimited, we have infinite capacity, and we are constant. This concept of permanence. So we go from impermanence to permanence, from limitedness to unlimitedness. And thereby we can kind of, understand that we don't need to feel that void. But we are stuck in the physical, you see, and so we keep searching for more and more. It's like this law of diminishing returns. And so eventually we end up in trying to figure out or find or take things which are readily available. And cigarette is one of those things which we take, and we end up getting addicted to it.
Wonderful. So, doctor, do you also believe that there are subtle reasons, subtle causes that make people fall prey to these addictions?
Oh, yeah. It's not in the gross form, of course, in the gross form, there are many things, but in the subtle, there is this, when I talk about this void, it's really the existential crisis that, we all are going through. And, and we want certainty. We want to have a sense of security. And if there is inherent insecurity, we try to cover it up, if you will, with something from outside. And so these temporary measures, whether it's cigarette, whether it's alcohol, whether it's other things, drugs, they give you a sense of immediate security. And so we then get hooked onto that.
Wonderful. So, Dr. Shvetank, I see that Sister Krishna is finding it a little difficult to join. I am wondering what the issue is at her end. However, we will continue this conversation with you, hoping
Sounds
that
wonderful.
she is able to join us shortly. So, this takes me to my next question, and that is, In your professional capacity, you've been a doctor for so many years and you see so many patients. Can you tell us any specific incidents, or maybe can you maybe share a story of someone who you have seen recovering and coping with this addiction?
Yeah, I mean, there are numerous stories, and thank you for asking for a success story. You know, there are numerous failure stories, people who are unable to come out of addictions, and they go back, into the same routine. But they just want everyone to know that once an addict is not always an addict. The world out there wants us to believe that, and I think it's like almost like cancer and other medical problems. In medicine, I'm trying to change the attitude of my juniors. When people would come, or my juniors would come and tell me, oh, that heart patient, I said, no, that patient has a name. That patient is a person. The heart patient is just a definite, a small adjective to the person. We can't identify the person because of his illness. And similarly, what happens is we identify ourselves or others with that addiction, and that becomes that person's identity. And then we feel as if that can never be taken away, or we cannot ever get rid of that label. But that's not true. Yeah, we can fix ourselves, we can cure ourselves. And I've seen so many people, on one hand, we think that only way that we can come out of addiction, come out of smoking addiction here is willpower. You see, but now we are realizing that willpower is a very small fragment of that. You really can't fix things with willpower. You have to fix things at the level of the soul. Yeah, I
Wonderful.
think if I'm not mistaken, is someone trying to join?
Yes, Sister Krishna is trying to join. We have sent her a request, and
Is it okay
hopefully
if I
she is able to
continue?
join this time. Yes, please, please do.
Okay. So you see, at the soul level, at the spirit level, we have to try to see what is going on. And going back to what I was sharing earlier, if we try to step into a dimension of consciousness, it's just a thought apart. It's just a shift in our consciousness. That's all. From seeing ourselves as a body, yeah, as the name, as the religion, as the nationality, as the place where we have come from, our family ties, and whether we're tall and short, and all of these physical attributes, stepping away from all of these, because that's not who we really are. We can never be this. These are our labels. Stepping into who we truly are and stabilizing ourselves in that consciousness that I am a soul that is full, that's complete, that's whole, that's perfect. Holding on to
Wonderful. You
that
see,
consciousness,
um,
working
even
with
while
that.
you're saying it, it sounds so relaxing and calming. I hope when people are in a difficult position, emotionally, physically, mentally, just this little bit could help them a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure. I feel it needs a little many times a day. We have to put in a lot of effort to change, to shift into that consciousness. You see, like when you were born, you didn't come with your name.
True. We've acquired so many skills over this journey in our life, and we all seem to have different experiences. And through this course of life, we notice that not only do we acquire a lot of traits, but we also learn a lot of skills. So it is totally up to us. It is a choice that we have, that we can consciously make, to commit to quit, and to willingly make a change. And I see that Dr. Shvetank has also left the conversation for some technical errors. I'm trying to reconnect with the both of them. Welcome back, sir.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know. I'm not sure what's wrong. I guess it's the internet.
Absolutely fine, sir. Nothing's wrong, you see. That's how this works. So moving on, Dr. Shwetank, you've come from a very stressful work environment. the medical fraternity, the engineering fraternity, the finance industry. All of these are considered to be very, very high pressurized jobs. Even your training and period in school, the med school, college, graduate school, everything that you've gone through has been so rigorous that a lot of people in your profession do succumb to pressure and get addicted to tobacco and other substances and engage in substance abuse. What was it that inspired you to gather the strength and courage to continue to not succumb to this external pressure?
Yes, you're very right, actually. In a way, not just physicians, but anesthesiologists are probably the number one specialty where addiction is at the top, where it's not just cigarette, but we have access to all these drugs, which anesthetize people. And, there's so many of my colleagues I know who have been addicted to this. And so, see, for me, it has been a spiritual practice that I have held on to for the past 20, 21 years. That has helped me day in and out, every day morning, every day evening, every day throughout the day, holding on to that practice. And that practice is simply constantly bringing myself to the awareness of who I really am. The spiritual dimension of my existence has helped me fill myself with that fullness, completeness, wholeness of the spiritual dimension, and therefore I don't need to seek for things out there. Yeah, and so the chances of addiction are zero.
Wonderful. I'm sure your colleagues, your peers, students studying with you in college must have had a wonderful experience, and they would have definitely been inspired by your courage and strength.
For
Moving
sure,
on,
yeah.
sir. Uh,
They do say.
Acha,
They
wonderful,
do say.
wonderful,
Yeah, it helps
wonderful.
because see what happens is, it's very contagious. Our energy is very contagious. So they say, for example, courage is contagious. One person in a group of 50, like say hostages, shows courage, then everybody becomes courageous. If one person panics, everybody panics. So if one person in a group is truly grounded and connected and in a peaceful state, it helps everyone around for sure. It serves them too.
So, as I was mentioning in the beginning, the theme for this year for World No Tobacco Day is Commit to Quit. What are your comments on this theme?
Say that again. What was the last part?
Yes, the theme for this year for the World No Tobacco Day is Commit to Quit.
Right.
What are your thoughts and comments about this theme?
Yeah, so you can. Yeah, we all can. There's no doubt that we cannot. Each one can do whatever he or she wants to do. We have the power. We have everything that it takes to bring about the change in our lives. So, first of all, I want to say that if you are in the pre-contemplation phase, you're not even sure whether you need to, I invite you to at least think about or at least educate yourself with information in the internet or other places about what smoking can do to you, to your family, yeah, to your health, and so on and so forth. And if you have made the decision and you're really working on it, I inspire you to not quit your your attempts to quit. Yeah, you will be able to do it. Yeah, you can do it. You have the power to change. You have the power to create a beautiful life that you want for yourself and for your family. But apart from that, what I feel is, when I said the spiritual practice of the shift in consciousness, there's also, a feeling that that always comes to me of serving mankind. You know, I feel one of the biggest reasons why we are going through this existential crisis in this whole world is because we are very self-centered. We're very selfish. We all want things for ourselves. That's it. Did I get my food? Did I get my clothes? Did I get this? Who cares about the rest of the world? But no, for a little bit, just step outside of you and see if you can do something bigger than you. And really speaking, it doesn't have to be real big thing. Like Mother Teresa said, you don't have to do big things. You just have to do little things or small things with big love. So when we step out of our own selfishness, our own ego, if you will, to serve the rest of mankind, then this feeling of fullness, wholeness, completeness becomes a practical form of life. And then we are able to garner or harness the energy that is needed to either quit, or if you've already quit, to stay quit.
Wonderful, wonderful. When you're talking about this, I remember my grad school days when I was pursuing engineering, and a lot of my friends, students who were studying with me, did smoke, and I just always felt that it is not necessary. I never felt the need to even try to go there and take that one puff, the first puff that you consider the fad to be, or to be the trend, or so to say the in thing, and that little courage, that feeling of feeling content by just not being in that group also made people realize that there is a scope for them to also quit. So they were inspired by the whole fact that there is someone who does not feel the fear of missing out, this so-called in trend of smoking tobacco. And I see that Sister Krishna is
Yes.
finally able to join us. Welcome to this conversation, Sister. Sister Krishna is
Thank you so
the
much.
production head at Radio Madhuban. She's been with the Brahma Kumaris for over 20 years, and she's also a finance graduate and from a media background, which is very surprising, Sister Krishna. And that brings me to my first question to you, which is that coming from a media and finance background, how do you remember starting to work in the social development area? What was it that inspired you to work in this area of making a positive change around yourself?
Working for the community has been passion since my childhood. And when I got this opportunity to work for the Radio Madhuban, I picked up immediately. And then, as a community radio station, we go to the local communities to see what is their need and what do they need. So when we go to the local communities, it is then we have seen people are lacking education, and
I believe there is a tech issue at Sister Krishna's end. We will wait for a couple moments to see if she can revive the connection. Otherwise, we will continue the conversation with Dr. Agarwal here, who's been very gracious to give us the time and to answer so many questions uh, and share personal experiences and stories.
Oh, it has been my honor to be with you, Brother Raghav.
We will get back to Sister Krishna in a moment. I see she's left. So as I was saying, Dr. Agarwal, that little changes that we can inspire in people around us, I think that really make a difference. What is your message, or what is your, let's say, recommendation to the young and youth out there who are going through that journey of just graduating out of high school, going into college, and starting their journey? And that's probably most likely the age where people are more likely to fall prey to these addictions. What is your message to the young audiences?
Yeah, in a way, there is also this element of curiosity. Let's try it, let's see, let's explore. But at the core of it, it's still somewhere some emptiness, some void. So I inspire everyone, whoever is watching, listening right now, or later maybe who will watch and listen, that see, why is there a void? Where is the void? What is the emptiness all about? How can I fix that emptiness? Because once you can fix that, then nothing in this physical existence of ours can pull us towards it. We become masters of our circumstances rather than being slave to what is happening around us and to us. Who likes to be a slave? Who likes to be a servant? we can be a king of our circumstances. And simply checking where is the void, what is the void, and how can I fix it? And simply by creating a nice, rigorous, not necessarily rigorous, let me take that back, that word back. Sometimes people get stuck with that because, oh, it's rigorous, I can't do it. But what I meant is a religious kind of, you know,
Constant effort.
yes, thank you, a constant practice with some degree of fervor, into it. I want to do it. I want to somehow create a practice for myself that will give me that fulfilling experience of life, such that I won't need to go out to explore things which can be harmful for me and my family and people in the world.
Wonderful, wonderful. So this conversation has been about the World No Tobacco Day, and clearly both of us have seemed to have committed ourselves to continuing on this journey to have quitted tobacco. I've also had the great opportunity to work with Radio Madhuban. Since Krishna Ben is not able to join us, I will share on her behalf a little bit about the work that radio does. So Radio Madhuban is a community radio station which is licensed by the Ministry of Information Broadcasting, Government of India. And they primarily work in the tribal rural parts of Abu Road, which is a very small area in the state of Rajasthan in India, which is the desert state. The geography that they come from and the populace that they work with is extremely, extremely backward and lacking education, lacking basic resources. Sometimes they do not have enough economic support to even have a meal a day. Given this situation, when we went out and ventured into the field and we went out to different villages to just speak to villagers and see what is their life would like, what is their routine like, what problems are they facing, what challenges do they face daily, we realized that they're able to still manage finances for substances that they can abuse, for tobacco, for alcohol, for all of the other local substances that are available, which was very surprising because in a family of 6, 7, 10, 15 people, where they have so many young children, mothers, and elderly people in the family, and they're unable to fend for themselves, they're unable to manage proper food and meals for everybody in the family, they were still able to, let's say, save that little money, that little bit, and waste it on tobacco, alcohol, and other substances, which then further caused a lot of problems in the family household, violence, domestic violence, a lot of chaos, a lot of fighting, a lot of that constant cycle, that vicious cycle of no education and continued poverty then just continues. So Radio Madhuban has taken a lot of steps and initiatives in the past 1 decade that has been functioning in that area. And they tried to create interventions at different points in time, especially on the World No Tobacco Day around it. And they collaborate with certain other NGOs pan-India to help and create programs of awareness through the radio, through their physical visits and outreach programs in the villages. And they make sure that people of all ages, youngsters, the young adults, and elderly citizens, are at least given the information that makes them aware of the damaging impacts of tobacco. Then it is the individual's choice to make that commitment to quit. But lacking that information is very disturbing. So Radio Madhuban has taken tremendous, tremendous effort and energy has been put into creating awareness around damaging effects of tobacco on individual health, community health, and the livelihood of the society at large. And Krishna Ben is pivotal to that initiative. She's been working extremely hard, putting in a lot of effort in designing those initiatives and projects. And we would have been lucky to have her on this conversation, but I guess there is a technical error at her end. I will just try her one last time before we end so that we get to ask her a couple questions and see if she can join us.
Yeah, I've heard such lovely things about the work Radio Madhuban has done, and I was excited to listen to Sister Krishna too. Yeah, but thank you for informing all of us about all those wonderful things. Yeah, keep up the good work, Radio Madhuban. Hats off to you.
So I started working with the radio as a volunteer when I was in school. I was just graduating high school, and that is when I personally got awareness about a lot of these issues, gender equality, substance abuse, better economy, rights, etc. And I see that she's trying to join us again, and I'm very hopeful that she is able to join us this time so that we get a glimpse of the conversation with her. Well, nonetheless, Dr. Shvetank Agarwal, it has been an absolute pleasure and delight talking to you. We were scheduled for a shorter conversation, but very, very thankful that you were able to extend this and share so many insights with us and give us the time that you did. And thank you so much for joining us. I hope this conversation has inspired so many audiences and will continue to inspire audiences who see this later to finally commit to quit on the 31st of May. And we see Krishna Ben's back with us. Welcome to this episode again. Are you able to hear us? No, I still see that there is an error, and we will have to continue. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to connect with you very soon sometime on a lot of different topics to spread awareness.
Oh, it was my honor. It was my pleasure. Thank you very much, Brother Raghav. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.